Right here. Okay.
See it going.
Yeah. True that. 1 2 1 2. As you can see, most definitely. I'm gonna take out the charger, all right?
All right. We here.
Let's get it popping.
Welcome to Peep Game TV, where we're here to let you know the game that's been played on you. It's time to peep that game. We're going to put you up on why you deal with certain things that you deal with in the manner that you deal with. Going to start off with why is it so difficult for black people or so-called black people to trust each other, to unite with each other, and to get along with each other as a whole, not just a little group or a little clover. So I got my people here, and we're gonna get it started. And we apologize for the delay, but this is the first time going live, and it's going to get better. You know, we got to start somewhere, so we starting from here. So let's do it.
You introduce yourself around the room, fellas.
Yo, Knowledge Born. Everybody knows me as Knowledge Born. My government is L. Wallet. We know is also known as KBM, Knowledge Born Mustafa, Knowledge God Avenue.
K Rich in the building. Jersey's finest.
Okay, and I'm your man Shadi, the host of the show. So, with the question that I asked about, you know, why you think it's so difficult for us as so-called black people to unify and to, you know, get along and trust each other. You know, either one of you can answer it.
In my opinion, it's been years of programming.
Okay.
And once we got to a certain point, it's just like it goes back hundreds of years when one would have and the other wouldn't. And each one wasn't teaching one, so there's no sharing and there's no equality. So nowadays, when somebody get the information, they either want you to pay for it or they want a percentage of whatever you can get from that information. So we're not really dealing in equality. It's the haves and the have-nots. So if I'm flashy, if I was your true brother, I would want you to be just as flashy as me. But
True that.
We've been programmed to envy somebody that has more than us, and that goes back hundreds of years.
Okay. Good point. Now, when you say programming, who would you say is responsible for the programming that we received hundreds of years ago, 200-300 years ago? Where do you think that influence came from? Was it from our ancestors, or was it the colonists, the so-called colonists, the ones who came to this country and, you know, now are in government, and they're the ones who make the laws and we abide by the laws that they make. So right. Would you say it was our ancestors, or would you say it was their influence, well, the so-called European influence? Where would you say that mindset come from?
Well, you know what? For me, that's a two-part answer. I would first want to say it was the white man who did this right here and taught us this way and placed blame. That's
Okay.
one way. You can
Right.
go that way.
Right.
The other way is only been on this earth 57 years.
Right.
So that's as far as I can take you where I can say knowledge is gained from actual experience in 57 years.
Absolutely.
But now there's an old saying that says the first law of nation is self-preservation. But it's the first law of nation is self-preservation, which means you preserve the best parts for self, and what's left over you share with those who are nearest and dearest to you.
Okay.
Nobody's sharing no more. Everything is preserving the whole thing for self, and the hell with how everybody else is doing. You know what I mean? So I know I didn't really answer the question, but it was just something that was on my mind. You know what I mean?
I say it's twofold too. I'm quite sure our ancestors had their issues that they dealt with, having different tribes and everything. But when you look at how the playbook goes, we still live in the same way we was that our ancestors were back during slavery times. So you used to have the field nigga and the house nigga.
Okay.
And that created a wedge between the two because of course, house nigga, he don't want to go back in the field.
Right.
And the field nigga, he ain't trusting the house nigga.
Right.
So now let's fast forward it back to where we are now. I've been in the music industry my whole life. They will pick and choose certain ones that will be the icons or the ones that we look up to, the flashy, you know what I'm saying, the moguls, so to say, in hip hop.
Okay.
But it's not there for all of us because once they get it, it doesn't trickle down. They become the slave master and they give us the F deals. But they have the knowledge. They've been knew the game. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to say names. You know exactly
Right.
what
Right.
we're
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
You know, they have the game. So, you know, we grew up in a 5% nation. You know what I'm saying? So we understand the difference between the 5%, the 10%, the 85%.
Absolutely.
You know, and the 10%, once they get the knowledge, they're not gonna give it to you.
Okay. Now, for those who may not, really be clear of what the 5%, 85%, and the 10% mean, can you elaborate on that a little bit? Like, the 5%, what did they stand for? And the 10%, what did they stand for?
Okay.
And so forth and so on.
So the 85%, which is the largest part of the population, or the larger part of the population, they're blind, deaf, and dumb.
Okay.
Okay, so they are, if we were to talk in today's terms, they are the ones that's just going along with how things are going.
Okay.
Okay. Then you have the 10% who know the truth, but they're not going to help the 85%. Once they get the truth, they'll eat it for themselves and they won't share. But then you have the 5%, which is a small percentage of the population,
Right.
who has the knowledge, but they have the concept of each one teach one.
Okay.
So their job is to turn those 85% into the 5%. So they're more concerned about the masses because they already know the 10%. They already have the hookup. They already know what's going on.
Okay.
So the 85% is who the 5% is trying to help.
All right. So basically, you're saying that the 5% is giving the knowledge to the 85 percenters that the 10% withhold from them.
Right.
Okay.
And they're giving it to the 85% whether they want to accept it or not.
Okay. And they're willing to give it freely. Where you were saying earlier that the 10%, it's a cost.
Right. I could give you an example.
Let's go.
So
Go ahead. Yeah. Break it down to the people.
Back in the days when hip hop was going, DJ Molly Mall was out in Queens, right?
Right.
So what DJ Molly Mall did was, if you could rap, you came up in his house and you did a beat, and he formed the Juice Crew.
Right.
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 So he was the 85%.
Right.
He was bringing people in, teaching them how to do it so they could feed their families. So that would be more of a concept of a 5% of somebody who has the knowledge I have the way to make these beats. So let me pull people in
Okay.
and form a crew, right? So he was about building his team. Now you can take other people that once they have their little situation, it's just for them. That would be more concerned of a 85%. I mean a 10%. They have the plug, but they're not going to give it to you.
Okay. So basically, you would have considered Marley a 5%er because he was 5% of those who had the truth, had the knowledge, and willing to share it with the 85%ers to lift the veils of their blindness.
Turn them into 5%, make them
Absolutely.
successful.
Right. Absolutely.
Basically, each one teach one concept.
Right. Okay.
But then somewhere along the line, they get lost, and each one don't teach one. It goes back to what you were saying, how it is today. We have the knowledge, but we want to sell it. Instead of bringing you on, I want to make you pay for something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you ain't really helping. You trying to figure out. You like a used car salesman. You know what I'm saying? And then the knowledge don't even be right and exact, because they tell you the glorified parts of it, but don't know there's a lot of work and a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you got to do to even get it to that point. But it like what everybody doing LLCs right now.
Okay. So
I got an LLC. I got an LLC. It's bigger than that. Right. And now that they're doing that, now that the government and the white people know that we are the largest influx of LLCs right now, they done changed the LLCs laws. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now as you get taxed more, you don't get the tax breaks that you used to.
Yeah, it's a mindset. We definitely have to reset, because even in that same parable, if I fix credit, right, and I go online and I give you just enough to come to my website to pay for my course, right. But what if I repaired your credit and said that now that your credit is good, let's start a business? You see what I'm saying? Because the money that it's going to take you to start this business, be it trading or whatever, you done paid it to me. You done paid my course.
Right.
So that could be considered a bloodsucker, because we're doing it to ourselves. We're doing it to our people.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
So basically, we done went from elevation as a natural right to elevate your brother, to make your brother, I'm my brother keeper, to I only keep my brother if he keep my pockets fat.
How much could I get? What's in it for me?
Right.
What's in it for me?
Okay. All right. That's good info. Let's go to the other topic where we have the murder rate, the high murder rate amongst the young guys, the young brothers. What do you think is causing that? Where they're, simply murdering each other because you may have stepped on their toe, or you may have looked at them the wrong way, or you may have slept with their girlfriend or something like that, and they're murdering each other. What do you think brought us to that state of mind?
To where it's easier to kill.
Yeah, it's easier to shoot a person in the head than to conversate, or even if necessary, punch him in the face. You know what I mean? I mean, the way we grew up, a black eye a hill. You know what I mean? You get a black eye, you get a busted nose, you can fix those things.
Right.
But once you put a bullet in a person and they're dead, they're not coming back. So that's permanent. That's a permanent damage that you've done out of an emotional state.
Well, it's even worse now, because the younger generation didn't grow up like we did. We knew what it felt like to get bulldozed in a football game. We knew what it was like to go out to the YMCA and shoot some basketball, play some baseball, get put on some boxing gloves. Our nephews and grandsons and grandchildren right now are playing Call of Duty. They sniping stuff from across the street.
Right.
They don't have those skills. They don't have, so
it's a personal skills. Yeah.
They can't even go out and shoot a fair one and be friends afterwards. We've all been through that.
Absolutely.
So it's and then you know, I don't want to come off like, you know, it's the white man this, the white man that, whatever, because we have to be accountable for ourselves.
Right, is that
But we allowed the circumstances to come to break up our family.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And now you got brothers that don't even talk to each other. You know what I'm saying? When we was coming up, your big brother dust you off, and you had to respect that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But he did it out of love. He ain't gonna hurt you or kill you. You just
Right.
like, hey, I'm still big brother. Mommy said, put the garbage out.
Right.
These kids out here ain't putting out garbage. Their mothers are putting out garbage, or they boyfriend, not their father.
Okay.
now, if you ask me, I want to say is because the females are basically running the houses now because there ain't no males around. There's males out here, but there ain't no males around because everybody got a baby mother. So we create and don't sit around to nurture mode or guide it. So now the child is with the mother 90% of the time. Now the mother now is on this toxic, what they call toxic masculinity, but they're also emotional. The kids are emotional now. Everything is emotional. And the smallest thing is death. You know, when we go in the house, we argue with our wives. Our wives always take it down. We like this. Yo, what are you screaming for? You know what I'm saying? So our reserve nature and their hyper nature is cause a conflict. And now the kids have picked up on that. And they act like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just the women's fault. I don't want to put that all on them. I'm not saying that. You know what I'm saying? But everything is about emotions now, and then everybody wants everything fast. So they're willing to kill you to get it fast. I don't want nobody wants to put the work in no more. You know what I'm saying? We came from the era where you earn this, work up. You start as a helper, then you become a foreman, then you become a supervisor. Hopefully you go into management. Now these kids want to come right in to Bill Gates. They think they're gonna just turn in and be the boss, you know what I'm saying, of everything. So nobody wants to go out and earn anything.
We don't have a definitive culture.
No.
You know, you hear the Breakfast Club. We're doing it for the culture. All these iPod podcasts out here. The Culture Report, the Culture. This,
all
the
these
culture
soliloquies
that.
and
But if you want to keep it real, we don't have a definitive culture anymore.
Okay.
You know, we have sub pockets of culture because culture is a way of life.
Absolutely.
So if I was to say what some of these young rappers are doing, well, that's not my way of life. I don't subscribe to that. So I'm not a part of that culture.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So if we don't have a culture, then we have no rules, we have no guidelines. You know, and what I mean by this is culture could be something as simple as a drug dealer that says I'm not selling to children and pregnant women. You know, that was part of the culture.
Right.
It's like, okay, yeah, the drug dealing is still going on,
right.
but there's some rules to this.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't sell to my mom.
No women and kids.
You know
right,
no
yeah.
women and kids.
Right.
Now, you know, it's like I can't tell me what the culture is. What is the culture?
Right. And I think what I hear from both of you is basically the way our society is being ran, there's no checks or balances. There's
Right.
you as you know, as you were saying, Kay, you were saying that, you know, the women are emotional, so if the male is not there, there's no one when the son gets emotional, there's no one to say, look, son,
that ain't the way you handle that. Right.
Yeah, touch, calm down, breathe, think a minute. Now, that's your mother. She's highly emotional.
Right.
You have to deal with reason.
Right.
So, and based on what you said, knowledge, okay, now they're watching video games, playing video games that are violent. And they're not really interacting with each other in a personal manner. Right. And you know, they're violent video games. So, and at a young age, because if the father's not around, the mother have to work. Video games is the babysitter.
Right.
So
and today's rap is the baby. This version of hip hop Is the babysitter? Yes.
Right. So what's being put inside their mental is basically handle everything with violence and emotions, and and it's already impersonal. It's not as we grew up where you had to speak to somebody on the telephone if they wasn't there with you.
Right.
You didn't have the ability to just put all your words with your fingers and never have to open your mouth.
Right.
So now with that being said, along with having, you know, a lack of fathers there, and then some of the fathers who are there didn't have father figures, and they
So
may be on
this their
emotional
first
things.
time. This
Right.
trial and error trying to be a father.
Right. So I think, you know, we're in a situation where we're basically being, as you said, we're being ruled by emotions rather than logic.
Right.
And as you were saying, Kate, what is the culture? What
are the rules?
Right,
What are the
right.
rules?
So yeah. So if you're growing up, normally you always have the man in the family who says, "Look, you don't listen to your mother. I'm gonna put something to your butt." You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
Or you have that male to give you that sternness.
Right.
And without that, what do you have? So we have a situation where we have our children basically just doing what they want to do the way they want to do it, and not having to answer to anyone except another child.
Yeah, but it has to be a reset. It got to be some point where people say, you know what, enough is enough. We're gonna create our own rules and we're gonna do it our own way. And the only way that that's gonna happen is that everybody is hurting. And I'm gonna tell you what I mean by that. You ever been in a situation where, be it school, or at work, or whatever, and you see a coworker being done wrong, right?
Right.
Supervisor just doing them in, right?
Right.
Most people would say, well, I ain't gonna say nothing because then the heat is gonna be on me. So you watch and you allow it to continue to happen until that supervisor or that teacher get your ass. Now you're ready to join forces.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're ready to join forces because now you see what that person and you have a direct threat opposed to you.
Right.
So until something happens, and we see it happen with the George Floyds, we see when those tragic things happen and we start coming together. But what happens is once the press starts showing it, we let up again.
Right.
We stopped going for what it was we said we was going for. So something is going to trigger Black America to stand on one accord, and that's when we're going to see a change. But as long as Puffy got $1 billion, Dr. Dre got $1 billion, and this guy Jay-Z got $1 billion, what's going to bring? What's that's $4 billion I just named off. But when are they going to come together and say, listen, it's about equality. Equality don't mean you got $1, I got $1. It's we treat each other equally. So my resources may help you get closer to where I am.
Mm-hmm.
That's equality. You see what I'm saying? You might have 2 and I have 1 and he has 4, but then when our brother walk in the room, we ain't gonna see him have none. So until something happens where there's a serious reset for us to get on one accord or to really sit down, because right now it's like he said, the children, even if there's a father alone, he's fatherless. The school said he can't whoop them. His kids come back home from school. They don't know whether they are he, she, it, or what. You know what I'm saying? And then you turn around and you give them the tablet so you can get some time to yourself and do some things, but you don't even understand that the cartoons that they're watching are pushing that agenda.
Okay. I mean, all of that is valid. Now, you said something that was truly valid, that it would take something that would get us on one accord,
Right.
and
And it ain't gonna be a song.
Right. And that leads me to my next question. Now, what do you think, like, okay, we're considered black, okay? And if we have Chinese from China,
Mhm.
we have Puerto Ricans from Puerto Rico,
Right.
Russians from Russia. Now, these three people have something in common is that they govern themselves. That's something that we don't have.
Right.
We, have been fighting for equal rights, as you said, equal rights, equality, things of that nature. And we have been going to and voting for individuals. And when you really look at it, what is really changing for us? So if that's the case, what if what we need is to devise our own government? What if that's what we're missing? The fact that everybody else have government that looks like them. We have a government that looks other than us and that treats us as other than themselves.
I'm gonna show you what the problem is. If America said we owe black people reparations, we could either give you physical cash, we could give you land, or we could give you free education. Which one would you pick? You gotta pick one.
For me, it would be.
Hold on, Bishop, before you answer that.
Go ahead.
I think that all depends on the individual and where you're at in life.
No. They're only gonna give up one.
So you saying for all people,
so we got to unite, and all of us got to get one. Right.
It would be land for me.
What would it be for you?
I would say land.
It'd be cash for me. So that's how they got us fucked up right there.
Okay.
Because if we can't agree what we want, they ain't gonna give it to us.
Okay, let's
we not going. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I understand.
With a definitive agenda to say this is what we want. You got this black person over here,
right,
saying don't give us cash. We want free education. We want this and resources. You got this person saying give me land. You got this person saying give me cash. You know what they say back? They sit back and be like, when they figure it out, maybe they could get it. But as long as we don't come together and say, look, you know what? Give us the cash and we can get our own education and our own land.
Okay.
True.
Don't tell us what we're gonna do with our money. Give us the cash.
And that's a good point. Now I want to ask you something. What land is tied to black?
All of it.
Meaning, elaborate.
We don't own none of this.
So okay, so
it's our natural right.
All right.
We have rights to this.
Okay, and you're absolutely right by what you said that we have rights to this. Now, by what I just mentioned, when every nationality is tied to a landmass,
right?
We are the only ones that are not tied to a landmass because we're claiming the wrong identity.
We got a land, but we want to go. Are we going to go back to it?
Let me tell you something.
Right.
When we became 5%ers, it said we own every square inch of the planet Earth.
Right. As God.
Right. But what it didn't tell us was
Africa was
that this place was Morocco.
Right.
That
I got you.
We were the indigenous people to this place. Right. And the indigenous people all over the world were Moors. See, so this is what we're missing. We're the only people who don't have a nationality.
So what got us to stop teaching that?
Well, what got us to stop teaching that was when we got naturalized in 1780 when we became
So basically, what you said is they gave us enough to not want to do that.
basically
Appear to be free. Let's
Right.
give them enough of this. Now they
Right.
they ain't gonna want this over here. Because who wants to put that damn work in? Because my question was gonna be who. How you gonna get people to want to put that work in to become that with their mindset already where it's placed at now? You know what I'm saying? That's the devil that you're fighting right there.
absolutely.
So
You know
you
what I'm saying?
create a situation where somebody doesn't even love themselves.
Right.
Even in our lessons, say
You level because the devil gives them nothing.
gives them nothing.
And
Right.
you think about it this way. Think about if I came to both of you, told you that your ancestors were in chains and your ancestors were working for me for 400 years and I paid them nothing. Now, 240 something years now, I give you a job, but I'm still controlling your wages, but I give you a job and and I no longer have chains on you. So when I tell you you're free, and I brought you here from another country. So if I tell you I brought you here from another country, first of all, you're not going to connect yourself to this country.
Right.
Second of all, you're going to feel blessed that you're not like your ancestors. You're not enslaved. You get to go to work and come home where they had to work for free. Now, if I convince you that this actually happened to you, your ancestors, I got you comfortable now. As what Kay said, I made you feel like you've gained something. You've made progress.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this is what happened to us. They have told us that we were slaves for over 400 years.
Right.
And if you do your studying, even in grammar school, they told us 1776 was the emancipation of America.
Right.
If you add that, that don't add up to 400 years. So why are we running around talking about we were slaves for over 400 years when America wasn't even formed for 400 years?
Or what if you found out that none of your lineage was ever a slave?
There you go. This is what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
Right. So this is the thing. Now, this is the whole where it's about peep game. We got to expose the game. We've been gamed from the womb.
Right.
They've been gaming us from the womb. So they've made us buy into that slavery thing. So, and it's an emotional thing. So people are tied to it based on, oh, what happened to my ancestors? That was terrible. But when you really look at it, you think in 1500s, they had boats that can bring millions of people here? When they just recently start making boats that can bring, thousands.
Right.
And then you got to think, back then, they were bringing people based on the wind. They were sailboats. They had no motors.
Right.
So they brought you from Africa to here. We've brought this.
But see, the mind is a serious thing. When you think about how in the world, if an elephant could turn over a bus, how can they contain an elephant in the circus with a rope around his leg? It started off as a chain when he was little, and he saw he couldn't break the train.
So in
So
his
now he's
mind,
big, and you put the rope. He feels the rope. He doesn't even try anymore.
right? Because in
Perfect-
his mind, it's a
perfect
change,
analogy.
and
Perfect
this
analogy.
means I can't go.
Perfect analogy.
Right.
Same thing with a fish. You put a piece of plexiglass in a fish bowl. If that fish hits that glass a couple of times, you can remove it, and it won't go past that line anymore. It done tried so many times that it just stopped trying. So that's why I said it's like a reset, and it's sad to say that the reset is not gonna be nothing nice.
No.
It's not. It's not gonna be a Marvin Gaye "What's Going On" song.
It's not going to be a George Floyd. We understand that.
It's going to be a serious reset just to get us there. You know what I mean? To where we say, you know what? We don't need none of that no more. We tried it your way. It didn't work. Leave us alone.
Right.
And then is it really a leave us alone?
I mean, the reality is, let's look at it from the view of basketball, baseball, a team. Let's say
Right.
we as the so-called black people are a team. Them as the colonists are a team, and they're playing against us. However, we missing a pitcher, back catcher, outfielders. They got the whole field. They got all their players.
Right.
Right? How are we gonna win? We can't win because we don't have enough people in the proper positions.
Right. That's a
And
good analogy.
and when you really look at it, what is the main thing that keeps us bounded? What is actually what you said? What is that rope that hold our legs back?
But you know what, though, Shaw?
What is it?
We don't qualify and disqualify each other.
What?
So what I mean by that is he might be a better catcher, but we put him in a pitcher's position. We didn't qualify him for that. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to take some voting, some revoting to get the best people in the best positions.
Okay.
So that team might be the bad news bears right now.
So let me elaborate where I was going with it.
Mm-hmm.
When I said that we have the rope around our legs, the rope is actually the government itself. This particular government is actually the rope that hold us from doing anything. No amount of putting those certain individuals in this particular government going to change our conditions. Why? Because the reason this particular government was formed for us, it was formed to do exactly what it's doing to us. It wasn't formed for. Why are we the only one battling with this government?
Right, it was formed for the betterment of white people,
right?
And for the so-called black people.
It was formed for the so-called
advancement.
The so-called aliens, the people who came from other countries. Remember,
right? But
and it was formed by them. Remember, the colonists were British. They were the foreigners in this country. So the government was formed by foreigners for foreigners. We are the only people who are not foreigners to this land. Right. So if I build a government in your land, you think I'm going to build a government that's going to work for you? I'm going to build a government that's going to work for me. And that's where we're missing our pieces at.
Right.
We're missing our pieces because we keep trying to fix a government that's nothing wrong with. Our problem is we're wasting time trying to fix their government instead of building our own government. We're trying to be a team, but we're trying to ask them, can we substitute for them?
Right.
Or they substitute for us?
So
go ahead.
I buy that.
Okay.
I buy that 100%. I would say that we would have to start grassroots and form local government before we get to big government. And what I mean is we got to start governing our families. We got to start governing our neighborhoods. And then once we get, you have different levels of government.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? So we would have to start from a grassroots. And that means take care of this house first, right? And find collectively people that are on the same mindset. Because here's the funny thing about it. When I first moved down here to Georgia, right? Got a house, was living good. Somebody came down, saw it like, damn, this is nice. How much you paying?
Right.
How much? Boom. Now they came down. Boom. And they came down.
And then they bought a house.
Now before you know it, half my fucking family from Patterson and Queens is down here.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But we all on the same wave now.
Right.
We all on the same wave. That's the each one teach one principle.
Right.
Right.
Cause I could walk down here and post pictures on Facebook like, look how I'm living, but don't let you know. No, get with this real estate agent. Get with my man, he gonna fix your credit. Get with this person right here, they gonna fix your roof. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A man gonna get you a job. Yeah. What you
My
call
man
it?
gonna
Yeah.
get you a job. Oh,
Well, there you go. I mean, that's basically what we're missing. And as you said, that we will have to start governing ourselves. And ultimately, that's the way, because once we govern the households,
Not
go
to
ahead.
cut you off,
Go ahead.
Tashar. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. In essence, what you're saying is right. Sounds very simplistic. But in reality, how do you do that? And not the generic form of it. What would be the first thing you think that needs to be done to begin to get that process rolling?
The first thing we would have to do is basically come to grips that we are really not black or African American. I think that's the first thing we really have to do. We have, as you said, we have to get on one page where we identify as who we are. You know, we get the chance to identify, because we're all over the place. Because first of all, black is not tied to a land.
Shot, not to cut you
Go
off.
ahead.
We got another guest in the house. Skid, step into the room, man.
Yeah,
Step into the room.
welcome to Young Blood.
I'm gonna sit over here.
So here's another thing too.
Right.
Yeah, put it in
Go
the
ahead.
frame. Here's another thing too. The first thing that this government did was they realized that you had to separate church from state, and that was done for a specific reason. This way, religion doesn't get in the way. That's not going to be our excuse. We can't say, well, you're Muslim and I'm Christian and you're Buddhist, and now we have our differences. You see what I'm saying? So we can't we can't we can't let religion. We just have to really come to grips to say, hey, I'm 5%, you Christian, you Muslim.
Set aside your
This is not about religion right now. We could get down there
practice.
in the later part of the culture, but the initial part is get that out the way. Get that out the way, because that's what our biggest differences are. You Jehovah Witness, I'm Baptist, da. We let those things keep us apart. So hey, you could be whatever you want. You could be a Mason, you could be whatever you want.
Right.
That's your personal business. It's like what you do with your wife in the bedroom. You keep it to yourself. But when we come here, it's based on these principles. The question was, well,
Reiterate. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, it was, you know, if it for just basically to cut it short. Like, what is your nationality? What do you identify as a person?
Me personally,
Yeah. What do
the
you?
Asiatic black man. Me, period. I'm from Star Stuff. I'm universal man.
Okay. Now, when you say Asiatic, what land did that tie you to?
All of it. This is my land. Me personally.
Okay. Yeah.
Me
Yeah.
personally, from the knowledge that I've gained over this span of life that I've been living, all this is my land. You see what I'm saying? 10
Okay.
toes down. Wherever I step, that's my house.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? That's me personally.
Right. Now.
But now every black man, every youngster my age might not have that knowledge to walk that path. But me personally, all this is my land.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm from this. And from which I am is where I'm gonna go back to. You see what I'm saying? Ashes to ashes, dirt to dirt. So me personally, it's like this. He just touched on something. Knowledge just touched on something. He said, you could be Christian, you could be atheist, you could be whatever you want to be, but we got to get this together. But the younger generation, we don't have time or they don't have time. The youngsters that's coming up under me,
Okay.
they don't have time to sit back and analyze things how we can sit back and analyze things. We ain't got nothing but time on our hands. We not outside. We not doing everything that these young kids is doing. So at the end of the day, these kids, you got GDs, BDs, Bloods, Crips, you got hybrid gangs now. You got people that's doing exactly what he's talking about and coming together, and the common goal is survival.
So what he's saying is that's still a government. The Bloods is a government.
Right.
Right.
Crips is a government because
Technically it is.
we you know what I'm saying. But is
if
that
me
the
and my
government?
homies- if me and my homies go out here and we make a play, now we got a RICO. Because we came together as some young black brothers and tried to get some money together, and now we got a problem.
Okay.
So that's what's going on with us.
Okay. And it's a perfect example because no matter, as you said, you identify as Asiatic. Okay. The
True
ones,
indeed.
the
True.
ones, the ones,
indeed.
the ones that out there, whatever they identify as, they're being seen as black or African American.
Right.
This is what they're being seen as.
Right.
Now, according to
I identify as I'm that guy.
right,
That's what I identify.
right, but you're an individual,
True
and
indeed.
what we need is a collective to but it starts
Build
individually.
more of that.
It starts individually. The key thing that you said is they're coming together, as Kay said, as somewhat of a government, but now they're under the jurisdiction, the legal and criminal jurisdiction of the United States.
Right.
So whatever they do, they have to answer to the United States.
They have to comply.
Right.
Gotta
So
comply.
that goes back to what I was saying to you, that this is how they put that rope on our leg. They create laws
Right.
specifically that hinders us, from ever being equal and ever
Or
having
living in our full potential.
right.
And
then you
human
know,
rights.
you know the funny
See?
thing about it, at the end of the day, that rope is attached to nothing. We not moving because we just not moving.
Well, we're not moving because we can't seem to identify who we are as a whole.
or with each other.
So you're right.
Right, so that's why
the thing is, how can you identify with each other
If you can't identify yourself.
Right. When you can't agree that, look, this is who we are as a people. If I say I'm black, you say you Asiatic, the other person say they're African American, the other person say they brown. There's no unity.
Sadiq,
Go ahead.
the point I was trying to say about that is if you take those identifiers away, right?
Right.
Who's to say what we looks like? If we're saying we, does that eliminate an Afro-Brazilian or Afro-Dominican or Afro-Mexican? So that's why we're saying you gotta take the identifiers away, and it has to be a spirit. Because, and I'm just keeping it real with you, the conscious community, those cats was on 125th Street with everything from the hangings to Kemet scrolls and everything. They wasted more time with Lit Professor, and we got nowhere. We got nowhere.
Okay.
Because they excluded everybody if you wasn't
A part of them.
a part of them. If you wasn't African. If you was to do your DNA, who's to say you even tied to that land? Like you said, you could come from Morocco. I'm Morocco, but I'm saying you could come from Alabama.
Wherever.
Who's to say Alabama's not Egypt? It's been said. Or Mississippi. So what I'm saying is, like, what does as long as we saying it has to be tied to a thing. Now you have a group, you have a clique, and if somebody's not a part of it, they're not gonna fuck with it. So now you take when Martin Luther King marched, there was people of the ethnicities there.
Right.
right?
Right.
And even we will let you study 35 years before you can put that sword up there, right? But we still part of the same thing. It's just it's a little different. Like if I have a poodle and you have a Saint Bernard, they both dogs, right?
Right.
But somebody somewhere has mixed them.
You know what I
So
came across?
hold on. I just want to say this. What it means is that there are people that are right and exact that don't look exactly like you, and if you exclude them, then that fucks up your mission.
You're saying like how Malcolm X went to was it Egypt or where he went to?
Right. So when he went to Mecca.
Mecca. I'm sorry.
Right. So when he went to Mecca, and he's praying with Muslims, and he's like, "Oh, I thought
only black Muslims.
The NOI was the only Muslims. Now I'm bumping in all types of different Muslims, right? So if somebody was to be a part of your cause and they put in the work, they put in them 35 to 50 years, right? If they put in that time and they really, really rocking with you, who's to say what we looks like? It has to be.
I mean, well, when we say we can look in our own families and see the shades, the many shades.
Right.
So
you can see you by the fruit you bear.
Right.
You can see you in different aspects. I came across this.
Right.
Sha. I came across this the other day. An apple tree produce apples. A banana tree produce bananas. A mango tree produce mangoes. Lions fuck lioness. Gorillas fuck gorilla S's. They don't get shit mixed up. Why are we the only thing that's on earth that can't get it right? So now, what triggered in my head was, okay, so now I gotta break it down to the square root of what am I about? How do I get down? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And if I'm on bullshit create bullshit.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
By the law of attraction.
So now identifying with a group and all of this extra stuff that's been going on for years and years and years, right? It ain't about that. It's about how you get down. What you about. And now you gotta separate that. You gotta know when to cut shit off. You gotta know when to build on a building block. You gotta know when to step away from certain shit, because at the end of the day, we the only thing that's on earth. If you study the ant, if you study the bee, at the end of the day, they do what the fuck they supposed to do. They take care of the queen. They make sure that they could keep on.
Oh, you just opened up a whole nother. Hey.
No, hold on. They keep on making sure that they produce.
That their lineage goes on forever.
They make sure the lady that can make babies keep making babies.
Right.
But we the only ones out here that's struggling with ego, anxiety, mental depression, all of this shit. When the tree out there gets sick and that shit dies, don't nobody know.
Yo, this shit.
When the tree gets chopped down, it don't yell.
No.
You don't hear it.
You don't hear it.
Right. And not that it don't yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't hear it.
Oh my God. Such and such just got killed.
Check it out. He just brought up something, and if you look at the tone of what's happening out there in social media right now, there was a period where back in the days, you know, when welfare said to black women that the man can't stay in the house if you want to collect these, and they took the check over the husband, right? And then that fucked us up for years, right? So now women got government programs. They were accepted into these corporate jobs. They went to school, boom, 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 boom. So now they're educated. They got more money. So now they look at a hardworking man, a garbage man, or a doggone street sweeper as beneath them. But now it's coming to the point where the manosphere is saying, well, I don't like the way these women are treating us, right? So now it's like, well, we're going to go to another country where we can meet an Asian or Dominican or African because their culture teaches their women
To respect the man.
to be like our women used to be. So now we was talking about that dynamic of family.
Right.
We got to with our women at some point. We got to both wave the white flag. I ain't fighting with you no more. You know what I'm saying? I ain't fighting with you no more. Because now that the manosphere is doing that, what's there for the black woman?
Right.
But see, the black man got to start waving the flag with each other, because at the end of the day,
Right.
if I'm fighting against you and my woman sees this competition, at the end of the day, it's no respect there.
So you know what? That's a movement. And I'd be willing to rock that with y'all.
But you gotta look at
The white flag. Let me tell you what the white flag is saying. It's saying across the board, atonement, brother to brother. We ain't fighting no more. We ain't fighting no more. That's
if you
that's the overall message.
But you still have to be militant and be prepared, because if you on that, I'm on that too, and I have
right,
and I'm in position.
But you coming up to the age, and we're at the age where there has to be counsel. So if even though we saying we're not fighting no more, there still has to be somewhere.
I should be able to come to you and be like, "Yo, pops, what you think about this?"
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Hey, yo, Shy, that ain't worth it.
And take the counsel and don't tell us, well, it ain't like that no more. This is how it is now.
Nah.
No, we got to draw the line. Hey, we ain't fighting no more. And if that message started going, it's not a surrender flag. It's not like I give up, you whoop my ass. It's us saying, we just ain't fighting no more.
Right. Or we're fighting differently. We're fighting in a manner that is legal, you know, in a manner that puts us on the international stage. No more domestic. See,
I see what you're saying, because China's fighting for China.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
Right,
so we're still fighting.
Right. We're still
but
fighting,
not with each other.
Right. We're not fighting with each other. We're fighting to be international. That we don't have to go to the United States government to make a deal with China or to make a deal with Russia, because we have formed our own government. This thing is super important because it goes to what you were saying. Lions, everybody got their own government but us. Right. So we're the oddballs.
Right.
We're the oddballs because
they can't get it together.
Right. We don't have a government that represents us. We can stop this with the United States government representing us because they're not us. And they don't represent us. And to go what you were saying, indigenous people across the world, that's who we're connected to. Oh, right. Like you just said, those people who know that they are the landowners of all places in the world, right? That's we. That's who we is. Right. When I say we, and you know, that's who we.
That's what the United Nations is supposed to look like.
And let me just. I'm not as old as y'all, but coming from Patterson, being raised in that environment, going to Queens, New York, being raised in that environment, coming to Atlanta, being raised in that environment, I never was scared. And I know that is deeper than what I think. Right. I never stepped on a piece of ground and was scared. I never been scared. Right. So that's how I knew that I was of this.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Right.
Now, have I ever been in a fight with a person that was bigger than me and I was like, oh shit? Right, yeah, of course. Right. Of course. Right. But I'm talking about just coming outside. I've never been the type of nigga that had to do this and that. Right. Because that ain't of me. And I don't think that's of we, but you do got a couple of wicked people that's out here. Yeah, of course. We got mental illness that we got to deal with, that we got to get across. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. My baby mother, her brother is in prison right now. He took a motherfucking apartment. He went and acting like he was going to get an apartment and the chick got the key to take him to the apartment to look around, and he raped her in it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So we not only fighting against what's right, we fighting against what's wrong with us.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of bullshit going on with us.
And the positives of it is, you know, they changed the definition of everything, right? When we grew up, we always had somebody in the neighborhood
That was enough.
that was gay. You always had somebody in the neighborhood that was bananas. You had somebody who, quote unquote, had a mental illness. But the real truth about it is, it wasn't uh, it wasn't widespread. You know what I'm saying? The majority of the people pretty much was regular people that was dealing with mental health and not mental illness. You see what I'm saying? But I kind of understand what you're saying when you're dealing with the indigenous
people, right?
But and then we gotta at some point wave the flag and say, hey, I'm not fighting with my children. I'm not fighting with my friends. I'm not fighting with my wife. I'm not fighting with my family, because those are the things that block. You got.
I say this. I hear y'all all over the board, and all y'all points is right. But what I hear is, where the hell do you start, and how do you bring the old to the new to get together? Skitty, you being 20-something years younger than me, even though you're older and mature than, let's say, Justin is. You know what I'm saying? But still, there's a difference of our mindset of where we're at, and you got the new, like Wakanda, when T'Challa or what's the other, the manga, what's the brother like he throw and play?
Right.
Like he wanted to come over and take
But
over
see,
the thing.
that's
We're
the
all
problem,
over.
Ken.
But to that, I say, how do we start?
Because if the
Where do we start?
young is looking to the old for the answer, right? They're saying, hey, you guys ain't teaching us shit. You ain't telling us nothing. But we're looking at them and say, well, how you want us to present it to you? You know what I'm saying? It's still got to be a set of laws. Like he said, it has to be a government. It don't matter if you're young or old. These are the laws that you abide by.
Right.
Because the young cats ain't respecting the older cats. The older cats.
My point. My point is,
You
it's
said
always is what
you're talking about bridging the gap, right?
Yeah, I'm telling you what I'm saying. You're bridging the gap, and how do we get on one common accord? Because we can all say what we think is wrong, what's this and what's that, but it's gonna. We'll leave. We're in the show and we'll leave, and there'll never be no definitive point or no start to
The
where
only
we
way,
to get
the
to where
only
we're
way,
trying to
the
go
only
to.
way, the only way
It's
it'll
just a bunch
happen.
of nice answers.
The only
Why,
way,
how
the only way, part of soul. The only way it'll happen is if you come up out of it. You got to come up out of all of this shit
mentally.
Not even mentally,
listen,
spiritually and physically. Hold on, Pop. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, Farrakhan said it the best. Come out of her. That's the only way. The only way we'll be able to create our own government. The only way we'll be able to create our own coalition. The only way we'll be able to create our own math, science, and our own belief system. The only way we'll be able to create that is if we come up out of it.
Right. And that what Shadi, hold on. What Shadi was saying was, her isn't necessarily America, because this is ours. Her is the mentality. Her is the government.
That's what I'm talking
coming
about.
Up out of that. We don't have to go nowhere.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
I ain't saying we ain't got to go nowhere.
But going to what my brother said, he said, how do you start it, right?
Yeah, because basically what I hear is y'all promoting PhD methods, but we're dealing with GED.
Right.
Folk.
Yeah, it's simple.
So we in college, but
it's simple.
You never got me through
it's simple.
Grade school.
It's simple. It's how we address each other when we come in contact. That's the first step.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we were saying peace, God, it was saying, I see you in me, right? So even though we still would fight or whatever, it still was if I come to you and say peace, King, and you say peace, King, that eliminates a lot of fuck shit. It sets the temperature. So we used to say peace, God, is a universal greeting, because the greeting is everything.
Right.
You see how Muslims greet each other. You see how Jewish people greet each other. It starts from how we even deal with each other when we see each other.
What the start is, you saying, is respect.
That's respect.
That's my point.
But it's also accountability, because if you're not on your square when I see you, then you see what I'm saying?
Holding you accountable.
But at the end of the day, white people we don't hear about their business.
Right. I think we don't have morals and rules. Just like
it's
all right.
We don't hear about
it's all right to be a snitch.
And when we hear about their business, is because one of the motherfuckers got out of line.
We ask you, brother, when did it change from you could be a snitch to come back on the block?
When did it change?
Yeah.
Shit, the Paid in Full movie. When Al Post said, "Yo, I'll give you a couple of niggas from DC, but I ain't giving nobody from Harlem." That's when it came acceptable. Paid in Full, the movies. The movies made it acceptable.
What make you think that what make cats stop holding people accountable and let that slide?
It's no longer that.
It's no penalty.
There's no penalty. It's niggas, it's rats in the club right now popping bottles, and all the bitches is on them. And it's niggas that ain't got it, and they're saying like, you know what? Yeah, he probably did snitch, but that nigga got a couple dollars.
I'm rolling with him. I'll give you a club to drink on.
Yeah.
So what happens is that also
Back
goes
in the day,
to that
rat
also,
with dollars is dead.
that also goes to glorifying the wrong things too.
Man,
You know, we got to deal with the fact that we stop holding these kids accountable. I remember if I had a beef with him and we came on the block, you being our big bro would say, shoot the fair one. Let's get it over with.
Ain't no jumping.
Right? Ain't no jumping. They got a problem
Ain't
they
no
got to
grabbing,
settle.
ain't no
But back
wrestling.
then, that was the only solution. You would bring out some boxing gloves. Right? Let's get this over with so we can get back to the regular normal life. Right?
Right.
So we have to take those type of approaches with these young kids, but we got to step in. But then how
I think.
So when you step in, there still has to be some type of measure because Kay gonna say, I got a family at home. I might go to this dude and tell him pull up his pants and get shot. So we got to be able to say, okay, if we're gonna wave this flag, right? Make a person that's not abiding by that feel out of place by not abiding by it. So I'm just saying hypothetically, if we say this is how it's gonna go down, right? And we start small, right? This is how it's gonna go down. This is how we're gonna greet each other. You know, this is the type of respect we're gonna give each other.
There, just what you just said right there. We start with the universal greeting of peace.
Right.
Okay? We starting with peace, absent of confusion, absent of war. That's the white flag. Peace.
We had it, right?
Peace, brother. Peace. Peace, king. You know, Start with that. Anytime you greet a brother, peace first. Now, once we could get past that, once we could get to that, now, like what Skitty said, now we start elevating. We start picking people because to put the government together, we need the right-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Now, that means we got fair dealing people. See, what we're doing, this is not about hating white people.
Right.
No.
This is not about hate, revenge, and none of this.
No, we hate ourselves.
This is about correcting humanity.
Right.
We see that what's going on here, based on what's going on in Israel, that they're out of pocket.
Right.
They're not talking about peace. They're talking about war. Why is they talking about war? Because as we started off before, it's about money, confusion, power, and inequality.
Right.
Indigenous people on other lands are suffering because foreigners came to their land and decided this is our land because they formed the government.
Right.
They formed the government before
Let me
they
get y'all
did.
together. Let me show you how to operate.
Absolutely. Now you're under my jurisdiction. You're under my criminal law because I'm the one. Right. Because I didn't gamed you. I didn't gamed you because
so now I need a nickel on that.
Absolutely. I didn't put together the government before you did. Now, or I didn't put together the government and it overshadowed your government.
Right.
So now we have to reestablish our government. It wasn't that we never had government,
but
it's
the
that
game,
they overshadowed.
but the games that these people play is at the end of the day, I'm gonna show you how to get your shit together. But I'm also going to show these people how to tear this shit apart. So that's what's going on over
We'll see.
there.
And
That's what's going on over there because if you think about it, I don't know if it's facts or not, but at the end of the day, I heard allegedly that at the end of the day, the reason why Biden is not stepping wholeheartedly over there, what's going on over there, is because Trump already had that shit settled. And now at the end of the day, it's going on. It's basically because Biden is sitting back saying, like, you know what? If I do entertain this, I make the past president look good. That's just what I heard.
Okay.
Well, see,
now let's go with it this way.
It's politics. Now
if
tricks,
they tricking people. Look at it this way. If he's willing to give Israel money, then he's already chose a side. So he chose a side. He's trying to get money for Israel. So he didn't draw a line in the sand. Right. So, but our thing is we have to, as you said, come out of her and come into us.
Right.
Coming into us is putting together a Moroccan government. And I'm telling you why, because legally we have the right, not just morally and
it's not a crime to come together.
Right.
It's not a crime to come together. It's a crime to come together and commit crime.
Right. It's a legal right as human beings. We have a human right. When Martin Luther King was fighting, he fought for civil rights. That means you fighting for something that you asking another man to give you. That's already out of pocket. That's already unnatural. As the analogy you was giving, the analogy you were giving, right now, we're all suffering because we're in an unnatural state.
A wise old man always told me, never ask please.
Right. We're in an we're in an unnatural state.
You my mans, right? Mm-hmm. You my mans, right?
But
you my mans. You Shadi, right? You my man. So should I say, yo, Sha, can I get a cup of flour, please? Or should I say, yo, Sha, I need a cup of flour? Now that's up to you to decipher if you have enough to spare. But at the end of the day, I should never come to you begging. You see what I'm saying? I should never come to Hove and be like, yo, Hove, yo, could you please cash at me $20? I should be able to come to Hove as a man and say, yo, Hove, I need 20.
That's semantics because, like,
you
should be able to ask if you in need.
It breaks down deeper to what you're talking about. Now, creating a government, what it's going to take is it's going to take a righteous person that's saying, this is what we're doing, because everybody ain't got the energy for this shit. Some people is going to sit up there and they're going to gift the gab and they're going to talk about shit that they heard last year. They're going to talk about shit that they think they know. But it's going to take a supreme soul to create a government and say, like, yo, listen, and create a petition and create this. It's going to take that energy, because a lot of people could sit up here and college knowledge you to death.
Right. Now, what if I told you?
Like that
what if I told you right now in Georgia there's a Moroccan government already?
I would believe it.
And what has to happen is we have to make more Moroccan states. As you said, then we can build a central government. You know, there's already 7 states, Moroccan states. So it's being done as we speak. The problem is that it's going at a slower pace than me personally I would like, because we've played around so long till it's time to make that necessary change. You said we needed something big. That's the big change.
Well, see, and you want to know something, Shadi? The thing is,
and we're gonna get ready to end.
The thing is, I don't think it's so much of recreating the wheel. Like when we look at the more science tipples and stuff like that, right? And the research that they've done as far as nationalization and finding out where we really are in our lineages and our real rights. But I'm Muslim, but I'm Christian. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said we gotta let these titles go because the information is there. You know what I'm saying? You have brothers that have went when you look at Dick Gregory and what he's done. You have brothers that have went to the United Nations and said, "Hey, this is what's going on," and they're saying, "Hey, okay, well, bring us the proof, bring us the documentation." So we don't have to recreate the wheel. We just need to tap into our brothers and say, "Okay, y'all done did the research.
Yo,
Y'all, hold on. Let me say this. Y'all done did the research. Y'all know the laws. Y'all know what's been stripped from us." And like you said, if there's a Moorish government here or Moroccan government, then they would have to be able to accept us with willing arms without having to take any of particular oaths and say, "Hey, it's time to build
Without
this."
prejudice.
Without prejudice, and say it's time to build this nation. But if I got to get initiated or I got to fall on this, that's what stops people from getting together.
What if I told you that there's a treaty called the Treaty of Madrid that was signed in 1880, and America has recognized it, and other countries has recognized it. Article 15 that says you, me, all of us have the right after a certain period of time to come back to Morocco, to come back to being a national citizen. It's already there. All the information is already there. So
like that information.
This is all. What I'm saying to you is everything we want to do is already being done. The information is already there. How we supposed to govern is already there. All we have to do is put the information out there and build this, reestablish the states, our own sovereign states, which means we have the right to be sovereign of the United States.
Can I say something?
Go ahead. And after this,
I'm
we're
a
gonna
young
end.
man, right? I like sipping a little bit. Sometimes I like being entertained. Sometimes it's not always militant for me as a black man. Sometimes just thinking about what y'all talking about right now is too much. I got two sons and two daughters, and only thing that I'm worried about with them is making sure my daughters is not no hoes and making sure my sons is not no scumbags. So that's what I'm focused on. So with putting that into place, the only thing I see for us to make that happen while we're still living, we could plant the seed, but to see it happen while I'm still living, it's gonna take COVID. We gotta COVID ourselves. We gotta motherfucking be like, yo, if you on that, we bombing on you. You gotta do what they doing over there. They going against the government. Those is motherfucking regular citizens with motherfucking Molotov cocktails and saying like we bombing on you. And I don't think us. Hold on. I don't think us as a black culture in Jamaica, Dominica, Haiti, ain't nobody ready to motherfucking go against the white man right now.
It's not about going against the white man.
It ain't about going against the white man. Ain't nobody really ready to step up. You heard what I said. I like to sit. I like my music.
But then you're gonna be part of the 85. It's gonna be 5% that's gonna move forward. So, it's nothing bad about that. It's not everybody.
You're not hearing what I'm saying.
Now, let me ask you this right here then.
You're not hearing what I'm saying.
Excuse me, give me 1 second. You said it was gonna take something extreme.
What did I just say?
Could that be extreme? What he just said?
No, that goes back to what I'm saying. It's not. It's a small population because if he's telling us this information right now, right, which means is a small population that knows about this information, but they deem it necessary to get it out to more people. Everybody is not going to move at the same time, and you can't wait for a moment where everybody moves at the same time. Sure, but if you netting and you capturing bodies and you capturing minds and mindsets, that's how it's gonna be. So let's say for instance, I want to party.
Right.
I want to party. This is too deep for me, man.
I'm
not saying you. I'm not saying you. But I'm saying, but as a brother, when you see me today, then you see me tomorrow, and then you get in some legal trouble, you be like, damn. Hey, Sade, remember that thing you was telling me? Eventually, you gonna get on board.
True indeed.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not you supposed to do what you supposed to do, but you at least you got attaching yourself to people that has the information, and sometimes it's gonna be a slow feed. You see what I'm saying? It's gonna be a slow feed.
Yeah.
But I would like for you to put that information out there, because why recreate the wheel and try to create a new government when we already have one?
Right. Well, I'll tell you what we're gonna do, fellas. It's about time to wrap this thing up. Shashad, let them know what Peep Game TV, what we're doing here, and when next time we're gonna get back together and continue part 2 of this conversation.
Peep Game TV. I
yeah.
like that.
Welcome to Peep Game TV, and we thank y'all for listening.
Peace.
And we hope that y'all enjoyed the information that you received, and we're going to be looking to do this again
very soon.
Next week, if possible. You know, around 7:30. We're hoping to get it. You know, even if we're not all in the same room, we're still hoping to all be together and continue this conversation, because this is a much needed conversation that we need as a people to change our conditions, mindset, and eventually our lives. So with that being said, I'd like to thank all my guests.
Peace,
Yeah, man.
Peace.
Until next week, I love y'all like I love myself. Peace.
Peep Game TV. Keep your eye open. Signed off.